Oh, look at the glory there. That is some beautiful coffee. Well, the coffee's flowing and it's time to get going. Hey, welcome back to Questions Over Coffee. My name's Kevin Smith. It's good to see you again. Want a cup of coffee? Don't forget to like and subscribe so that you don't miss anything that's coming up on Questions Over Coffee. If you have a comment or a question, leave in the section below. We'll get to it just as fast as we can. Today's question is, where can I go to find out what was going on in biblical times so that I understand Scripture better? This is a really good question, and quite honestly, it is something that we sometimes overlook because, well, the Scriptures were written in a time period. That's a big duh, right? But the things that were going on during that time influenced the writers, especially in the New Testament, as to what they, well, were dealing with. Like, say, Paul answering questions from the Corinthians in a letter that we don't have that they sent him, and then he continues to add to it. So, where can we find information on what's going on in the culture and about the cities and the events during that time period, whatever book we're looking at, so that we can maybe understand Scripture a little bit better? Today, what I want to try to do is give you 5 different tools. Some of these you will maybe like. Some of these you maybe will not like. And there are quite a few other tools available to us now in, 2021 that they didn't have back in the 1950s or before. Well, quite honestly, we are very much in the information age, and we are very blessed to be there. But at the same time, um, we have very little excuse for not understanding what was going on, at least to a point. So let's get started. The first place that you could go is somewhere on the internet. I mean, obviously, the internet is chock full of things that, well, some of them are extremely well informed, well researched. Wikipedia is not a bad place to start understanding a little bit about what's going on, but there are some sites that um, are better than others. They have more reputable sources, let's say. They, quite honestly, have done better work. So, number one, you could go to the internet, but I would advise going to more than one source. Just be on the safe side and comparing notes there. Uh, you want to make sure you get it as right as you can, right? Um, Number two, though, is something like something like this. Um, it is Eusebius was an early church historian, um, so he wrote about things that were going on during that time period, and well, the closer you get to the source, generally at least, the better the source is for understanding what was going on. Not always. Sometimes it is rose tinted glasses in a sense, or the flip side of that, whatever that might be, looking at it in a very, very negative light. But it will also give you information about what was going on in that period and information about, well, the cities, the towns, the nations, things like that, well, quite honestly, we don't necessarily have um, today. Um, the third thing you could do is something like this. It is a modern day source. It is, well, in this case, a commentary. Now, not all commentaries have a section where they tell you about the setting or about the culture or the nations that they're writing about, or the apostles are writing to, or whatever the case may be. But generally, if they have those sections, they tend to agree because, well, history's history. Unless you are attempting to interpret what has happened, generally, dates are dates, and you're going to agree on, well, this is what was going on. The city was founded in this particular time. Here's what was up in the culture, things like that. Um, but if you want to go with something that's completely outside of Scripture, and I'm not saying that's a good thing, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm about to begin teaching at a Western Civ class on things, so I love history. What can I say? Something that's a history book like this. I mean, Susan Weisbauer did a great job on some of the topics and things that she has covered. This one particularly is history of the ancient world up to the fall of Rome, and it's very well written. And there are others like it out there that are also very well written, that you could also go with. Number 5 would be something like, well, ISBE is the short name for it. It is the International Standard Bible Encyclopedia. And it works very much like a hard copy encyclopedia, like your Collier's, like your Encyclopedia Britannica, things like that. You want to know something about Assyria, you go and look up Assyria, assuming you could spell it. I had to ask the first time because I was like, what? But, there you go. They have a hard copy of the set of the International Standard Bible Encyclopedia, or you can also get a copy on an app these days. I use the Olive Tree Bible app. You can get a copy of ISBE on that particular app that does virtually the same thing as a hard copy. And at least when I bought my copy of it on the app, it was far, far cheaper than a hard copy of the sets. So that is a very viable, very good option as well. Whatever option you choose, and like I said, there are many, many more out there. My advice, my encouragement would be go to these sources and find out what was going on. Because in many ways, like we said, the apostles' writings were colored by the events of the cultures of that day, the events that were surrounding them in the nations. So it will help our understanding as we go and learn about what was going on. So I have a question for you. What is your favorite source for learning these types of, well, contextual pieces? Leave me a comment in the section below. Don't forget to like and subscribe so that you don't miss anything that's coming up on Questions Over Coffee. Thank you for our time together today. I look forward to the next time. Keep pressing forward.